Hi, I'm Belle. I'm signing back on. Somebody's doing me the favour of shedding a lot of light on this situation, insisting to shine a flashlight on me, even though it's pretty obvious that that's making me, it's very bright in my eyes, it's rather uncomfortable. Anyway, I'm up a tripod that's sitting on the inbound and outbound tracks to the world's largest coal port. I'm sitting here because this piece of infrastructure is really important to the political and economic imperatives of Australia. Those imperatives of growth, destruction, extraction, at the cost of the living world, at the cost of human and animal safety, at the cost. Sorry, it's very windy. Can you guys hear me all right, even though it's really windy? I'm on unceded Awabakal and Wurundjeri land. I'm taking part in an action for Blockade Australia. It's all in the name, really. Australia is a system that was built to exploit, and I'm putting myself in the way. I don't like being here. I wish that some of the petition signing and letter writing that I've done in my life had made the difference. But like I read in a very interesting book I've been reading recently, at some point you've got to starting to get water from a rock. At some point you've got to recognize that if a system needs growth, if a system needs to keep extracting to exist, it's obviously not going to act against its own interests. And turn around and got some flashing lights. Got half a dozen cops. This very nice cop is keeping the flashlight on me. I hope that's for my safety. Not some sort of, attempt to make me really uncomfortable. Just taking a few deep breaths. Thank you for bearing with me. Thank you for being here tonight and watching. I really hope that I represent my grief and my understanding accurately in this. I'm finding it quite difficult. I'm hanging in the air from a 3-pole tripod. It's currently blocking access to the world's biggest coal port. And I'm doing this because we are in a climate and ecological emergency. And when you are in an emergency, when you're in a crisis situation, you don't make small incremental steps. You do what's necessary. So I'm here. I'm actually not particularly uncomfortable with where I'm sitting. I feel safe, but I am uncomfortable that I have to do this. I don't like that there will be repercussions for me, but I'm very grateful that I live in a country and I have a skin colour where I think that I will be reasonably safe. I'm from a place that just got extremely burned. I'm from a place which in some areas you can no longer hear insects, birds, anything. It burnt so hot and in such a big range that, yeah, it looks like a moonscape. It's really actually horrifying to be in. And in that same place where I live, the interests of the local money-making mill still a greater priority than recovering the health of that. They're still important than using the knowledge of the people who might be able to nurture that land back to health. All the different groups of the UN nation from that area. Instead of doing any of the things that seem reasonable or responsible, just in general, let alone the fact that we are in a crisis, instead of doing any of that, they're pillaging what's left. They're raiding what's left of these empty, silent forests to chip down into a low value product which is sent overseas. I imagine that there's probably at least someone on here that I know that lived through that experience as well. And for all of you people, especially people in Australia watching, who maybe haven't realised how privileged they are to think that this crisis isn't already here. But it's a huge privilege to believe that the crisis is still coming. It's a huge privilege. There's people for whom this crisis started when their lands were invaded by colonizers. There are people for whom this crisis started when they first experienced firsthand some sort of climactic, some sort of unprecedented climactic event. And there's some for whom it started watching nearby communities be swallowed or decimated. Those things are really painful, but you don't have to sit by and watch and feel helpless. There's so much you can do. You have a lot of power. You really have a lot of power. If you would like to realise that power, I encourage you to like Blockade Australia's Facebook page. I encourage you to watch out for information sessions. I encourage you to think about whether you can come to Sydney next year in June. And I encourage you to just think about, when you're asking nicely for a system that was designed to exploit to act in the interests of the natural world. Maybe there's something that you could do that's a little bit less futile. Maybe there's something that you can do that's more likely to get you the results that's necessary, to get us all the results that is necessary. You don't necessarily need to sit in a tripod. You don't necessarily need to do anything. But if you possibly can conceive of having the courage to even just support somebody else who's willing to do this, it's really important. I'm sure that everybody who's watching this has some sort of skill that they could offer, some sort of way that they could resist or support somebody else who's resisting. I really encourage you to think about what might be necessary for you in this time. If you understand the situation that we're in, I really encourage you to feel in your heart what that means. And I really encourage you to try and think about what your responsibilities might be and how you might be empowered by doing what's necessary instead of asking for what's necessary. So again, I'm here. Above me is a sorry, just trying to listen to something on the ground there. Sorry, got a bit distracted. Yeah, I'm suspended in the air off a tripod, the base of which is sitting between two sets of coal lines, railway lines that go in and out of the world's largest coal port. And doing that because the Australian political and economic paradigm was built to exploit this land. It was built to take everything that's profitable, to use the people, to use anything that they could find. And to not give anything back, except maybe a little bit of toxic waste or some nice landfills. Given the reality of that situation, I've decided that I can best resist the active driving of the climate emergency by Australia by getting in the way. And I'm getting in the way of coal today, but you know, it's not just coal and it's not just this one port. It's an entire way of structuring the management of humans and land to benefit a very small number of people, and with very little regard of the consequences to everything else. I'm not sure how long I've been up here. Anyone able to tell me how long they think I've been up here? Anyway, doesn't matter that much, but I'll be sitting up here until somebody removes me. And again, don't really relish the fact that I'm here doing this. I really appreciate that I'm safe. I really appreciate that there's been a long legacy of people who have set the foundations of how we can resist these types of systems. We can demand a better future. We have to. But yeah, there's certainly things that I'd rather be doing. But nevertheless, it's really empowering. I'm very committed to this being what's necessary right now. And I suppose especially for the people whom I love and whom love me, I really appreciate your support always. And I really, it's really hard for me to have other people not understand exactly what's at stake here or exactly what they can do about it. And I hope that we're helping people reimagine what they can do about it. I know a lot of people that don't have very much trouble imagining an apocalypse. They don't have very much trouble imagining collapses and preparing for them in small or big ways. But I think it's really unfortunate that we believe that, you know, that we believe that we're just waiting for that outcome and that there's nothing we can do about it. And it's a real lie. There's a lot you can do about it. But it certainly doesn't happen just by asking nicely. No one's listening, no one gives a shit. I've had 30 years of asking nicely. Some other great wins amongst that asking nicely, but we are well past the time of just blindly hoping that things are going to get better. Somebody being very persistent with the torch on me. I'm really grateful that the winds died off tonight. Standing in the wind a little bit earlier today and thinking that it would be quite awful to be sitting here, but in the end it's not so bad. Also really grateful that it's not raining. Power to those amazing people who did this in the pouring rain. I've got a lot of time on my hands. If anyone wants to ask any questions about why someone would do this or how to get involved, probably got time to talk to you. Thanks, Emma. I'm doing all right. Miles has just asked me if any activists have been held in jail. Well, a lot of people have spent the night in custody. There have been some pretty restrictive bail conditions that people have been pretty unwilling to take on. You know, we're going to get charges. It's just another thing to not want to take on. And also young Sergio actually spent even longer in custody. Thankfully he's no longer there, and thankfully he was safe during that process, because as we know, so many people are not safe. It's so frequently the worst place to put vulnerable and disenfranchised people. And just to reiterate that I'm really grateful to be of the right colour and class to expect reasonable safety in custody. If you've just signed on, I'm hanging in the air. I'm up a tripod that's set up over the inbound and outbound rail lines, blocking access to the world's largest coal port. I'm doing this because the Australian political and economic system was built to exploit. The system isn't broken. It's doing exactly what it was designed to do. It's designed to take whatever it can, use whatever it can to make money. Lots of light to my face right now. I'm here doing this actions, this disruptive, non-violent direct action with Blockade Australia. I know that so many of you watching really care about this issue. I know that it can be such a daunting thing to try and imagine the ways that you might have any power in the face of such a big, overbearing organisation such as Australia. But I just want to remind you that if you apply pressure in the right place, like I am today, even one individual is able to reclaim a lot of power. And we need you, if you can possibly manage it, to think about how you might be able to help reclaim your power. Like the Blockade Australia Facebook page. Keep an eye out for info sessions. Try and think about how you might be able to help. Come along to Sydney in June next year. You can do anything from feeding someone to putting yourself in the way. Ingrid, yes, originally we thought that Serge was going to be held for 2 weeks. Fortunately, he was released today. Very relieving that he doesn't have to spend 2 weeks in such a horrible, oppressive place. And it's so sad that so many people that are so vulnerable and need a lot of help end up in the prison system. My name's Belle. I'm 26 years old. I'm taking action today on the unceded land of the Awabakal and Worimi people. Sovereignty here was never ceded, just like it was never ceded in any other part of this continent. I'd like to pay my respect to elders past, present, emerging, both here in this land that I'm on right now and on the land where I normally live, the people of the Jurunganj. Sorry, it's a bit going on here now. There's lots of police. Sorry if I get a bit distracted. I'm sitting in a tripod that's across two sets of railway lines, blocking coal from coming in and out of the world's largest coal port. And I'm doing this because this is a real choke point in the flow of money, the flow of political power that Australia has. I'm thankfully quite comfortable. Not too cold. It's not too windy, and it's not raining tonight. If you were just hearing about Blockade Australia, and if you haven't heard what's been going on this week, I thoroughly encourage you to have a look through all of the live streams of all of the brave activists that have put themselves in harm's way this week. I'm absolutely in awe of the clarity and conviction of the amazing people willing to do this. How's the flashing lights, hey? I'm trying to spend a bit of time in between talking to you to I guess take this opportunity to do my own reflections of how I've ended up here, and I guess in a lot of ways it's really through a series of events it's been made unbelievably clear to me that at this point in time this is what's necessary. I was saying a little bit earlier, I personally have lived through 2 huge bushfires. The first one when I was in my teens, the Black Saturday fires, and my main memory from that is the debris falling from the sky. I was swimming in my neighbour's dam when pieces of bark still alight started falling in the dam. I thankfully wasn't personally impacted. Well, I was personally impacted, but you know, my person and my property weren't directly affected, I would say. But still, for weeks I was going to school and being told that I had to prepare myself for an academic future, to you know, work to change things incrementally from inside the system. And in reality, I was watching my community burn. And, yeah, I guess kind of even more horrifying experience was the 2019-2020 bushfires. I live on the far south coast in Gunj country. It's unbelievably confronting what huge sections of that area look like now, and the fact that not only has our political and economic system not got people back into houses, even though there are houses for them to live in. Not only have people not even close to finished recovering, but what's left of that bush, the bush that's now silent, the bush where I hear over 3 billion animals perished, that is still being stripped, salvaged, the timber industry calls it, shredded into wood chips and sent overseas. It's not a single part of me that accepts that, and there's not a single part of me that accepts that I'm powerless to do anything about that. And that's why I'm here. That's why I'm sitting in the air above the rail lines in a place that I know is important to the operations of this thing we call Australia. because I do have power. I don't have to take it lying down. I'm not willing to accept what's happening here. I'm not willing to comply with what's happening here. And without hurting anyone, I can take direct action to put myself in harm's way. And if you're interested in feeling what that's like to empower yourself to do something about the situation that we're in, I hope that you'll like the Blockade Australia page, and I hope that you'll look out for upcoming events, and that you start to expand what you can conceive of your power being. Of course, you can ask a question. What would you like to ask? I've got plenty of time. I'm going to watch the comments for a section, for a little amount of time. If you want to ask me anything, I'll be happy to respond to anything other than abuse, I guess. I'm a person that's tried to do what I can to quote unquote reduce my carbon footprint. Concept that was neatly thought up by BP. But yeah, I try and grow a lot of my own food. I try and drive my car as little as I can, but I really want people to stop accepting that these are the things that are driving the climate crisis. What's driving the climate crisis is a reckless and organised thing in Australia. It has lots of different mechanisms in place to protect its own interests. And, there's a lot that you can do about that. Today, what I'm doing about that is I'm sitting in a tripod. It's blocking coal from coming into the world's biggest coal port. Yeah, I'm doing that because coal's not really helping. We've got to stop digging stuff out of the ground, but I'm more than that, I'm aware of the types of industries that are actively facilitating driving us off a cliff edge, that are actively facilitating the destruction of the natural world, actively facilitating the exploitation of people, country, and anything that it can extract a profit out of. Wow. I'm getting a bit tired of being on the stream. I'm It's not a particularly comfortable thing for me. I've done it anyway because it's what's necessary. I hope that I've represented what I think in a way that I can be proud of, but even if I haven't, the action that I'm taking today also speaks for itself. I'm trying to think about what it's going to take for us to move past all of this misdirection, all of these false solutions that don't address the underlying problems. And when I think about that big job and who's going to be able to do that work, people on the ground, grassroots power, people who know what the community needs and want to look after the interests of the community, not the people who are looking to make money off the people and the land, even if it's destroying the life support system. That's not what I'm backing. I'm backing the power of the people. And yeah. Probably gonna sign off. I'll see you on the other side. Have a great night.